I call Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I just want to point out to the member who's just resumed his seat that in speaking about drug rehabilitation programs and the effectiveness of the dollars spent, that of course is a major part of this program, and so it's good to hear him being in support. I would, however, suggest that he also talks to his colleague sitting beside him, who pointed out just a short time before that she and her colleagues are passionately opposed to every aspect of this bill. Well, that member, of course, was not a part of the select committee that worked on this bill, and I suspect that as that will be news to her colleagues, she goes and speaks to them, because in fact there's much about this bill that her colleagues did support, albeit we're obviously talking tonight about the things that they didn't. Mr Chair, this debate is, of course, about part one of a very important bill, and I'm proud to speak in support of it, because as my colleagues have pointed out tonight, this was a major initiative that we campaigned on. We are doing it with a mandate from the people of New Zealand. And I think many of them will have listened to some of the things coming from members opposite tonight and say, may it be a very, very long time before that party with that rigid and outdated thinking ever returns to office. Because, Mr Chair, this is a pragmatic measure. It's a compassionate measure. It's an effective measure. It's based on common sense. And most importantly, Dr Prasad and Ms Ardern, it is based on practical needs and evidence. It is not based on blinkered thinking and outdated, rigid ideology. It's very important for the Labor members, if they're going to continue this line of attack, to confront the reality that the Police Association strongly endorsed this measure when they appeared before the Select Committee. Now, it may be that others disagreed with the Police Association, but it is the Police Association and the officers whom they represent who are at the front line of dealing with these issues. They are the ones, the men and women of our police, who are out there day in and day out dealing with these young offenders. And remember, we are talking about 1,000 of the most seriously at risk, seriously disturbed, seriously dangerous young people in our community. And if we are not prepared to give our wholehearted backing to the police, then God help this country, because they are the people who we really, really depend upon to do something at the front line and turn this around. So what is the message that members opposite want to send to our frontline police? They're concerned that this measure is too tough. They demean this measure with dishonest slogans such as boot camps. The Deputy Leader of the Opposition earlier this evening suggested that it was akin to putting an egg beater in the toolbox. Well, Mr Chair, it is clear that her preferred style of eggs reflects her thinking, thoroughly scrambled. She was also opposed to intensive periods of supervision and suggested that this measure won't work. So I want to turn her questions and her comments back on her. What is her evidence for that claim? Why is the member for Rongotai opposed to the wraparound services that will accompany the supervision that this measure has at its heart? Does she oppose drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs for the young? Because if she does, the member for Palmerston North has just been telling us how important they are. Does she oppose mentoring? Because many of her colleagues actually have told us at other times that that's an important aspect as well. Does she oppose parenting courses for our youth at risk who are already parents? And most of us know that some of the youngest parents in our country are also delinquents who are severely at risk, and their young children therefore are greatly at risk as well. And I want to do everything I can to protect those children of today, those children of tomorrow, and this measure will go a long way towards helping us to do just that. And then, Mr Chair, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition also lectured us about the cessation of the Te Hurahanga program in my city. Well, let me say to that member that no one in this House opposes the intention of the Te Hurahanga program, and we share their respect for the providers. But we have to acknowledge that it is horrendously expensive and it caters for a very small number of offenders. We have to ensure that we reach a much larger number of youth with the considerable sum that we are investing in youth offending. So contrary to the misinformation that members opposite have been spreading on this issue, I pay my compliments to the Youth Horizons team who have been running that program, and I hope that they will transfer their expertise and commitment to the Fresh Start programs that will be run from the same facility in Hamilton East in the years ahead. They are talented professionals. Of course they will, because the Youth Offenders Trust already runs a whole range of programs. They are respected providers. There's no criticism of them. They have the skills and the commitment to run a wide range of programs, and that's what they are already doing. I thank them for that, but we can't afford this particular program.
Thank you.